Oh. You meant Mayo. Okay. I'm going to call to order the governing board meeting for the Mount Dab Unified School District.
This is your last meeting.
Okay. We're going to call to order the December 14th governing meeting for the Mount Dab Unified School District. We're going to start with our pledge to allegiance. So I would appreciate if you would join me in that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we always like to acknowledge that we are on the ancestral land of the Bay Miwoks and the Yokots. I will now do roll call. Trustee Navi Flores. Here. Trustee McFerrin. Here. Trustee Mayo. Here. Trustee Cound. Here. Vice President Zawi.
Here.
And Trustee Mason is here as well. That takes us to 6.3, which will be the administration of the oath of office for the newly elected trustees. Dr. Clark.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment and I want to recognize our current president, soon to be outgoing president, and I want to present this plaque to Deborah Mason. This plaque says, "In appreciation to Deborah Mason, President, 2022 Board of Education." And I just want to say how proud we are of President Mason, of her commitment to the community, her commitment to Bay Point, and her commitment to all of the students within the Mount Diablo Unified School District. And she has served as a president that has run excellent meetings and has always put students first. So with that, I want to thank President Mason. Thank you. And so continuing on with President Mason, I think she is going to be the first one to be sworn in, correct? I'm making sure I don't mess this up and miss anything. So I do have I believe you have a guest here who's going to be swearing you in. So I think we probably have to have you come out here to the front here. Okay.
Outgoing president. There's just a couple of gentlemen here tonight I really need to thank. One of them I've been with over 40 years, and I think he put over 100 miles on his new knee campaigning with me. And he just has to be acknowledged because he never says no to me. When I said, why don't we start a graffiti abatement program and have a hotline? He said, okay. When I said, why don't we clean up the community and go out and stand in a field and collect trash all day? He said, okay. When I said, why don't we start 11 gardens at all the after school programs? He said, okay. Knowing that I did not have the skills to do any of these things, it was just my idea. So he got voluntold to help. The only time I can think of is when I turned 50 and I said, I thought I should celebrate by skydiving. He said, nope. And that was the end of that conversation. And the other gentleman is Supervisor Federal Glover, who I've worked with for over 20 years now, and who has always been supportive of me. He's had to tell me more often to slow my roll than my husband ever did, but he doesn't have to live with me either. So he's been a great mentor. He's always been there. And he's the only person that without any hesitation, every time I've run for a board, has said he would endorse me. So I wanted him to be the one to swear me in this evening. So with that, Supervisor Glover.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board, Superintendent and your staff. First off, I want to just thank and congratulate all of you for the work that you do and for all the incumbents to have been reelected. That's quite a statement from the community saying that you're doing the work that they expect of you. And so it is with great honor that I'm here tonight. And when Deborah asked me to swear her in, I was very much ready to say yes and honored that she asked. And Lee understands that when Deborah asks a question, it's mainly to be followed up with a yes. Yes, I will. And so, like I said, it's an honor to be here. As Deborah stated, we've been working together over some 24 years, and it's really been a pleasure. And I have to say that when I asked her for an endorsement when running for the Board of Supervisors, she said yes with no hesitation. So we have been supporters of each other's. And the reason that she has my support is because of her heart. And particular when it comes to the children of Bay Point, she's been an outstanding leader. And we want to continue to have her serve our community and the young people there and the Bay Point community. So Deborah, it's my honor to be here tonight. So if you would raise your right hand, and we've been through this several times before. So, so if you would just repeat after me. Oh, no, it's here. So for the Mount Diablo Board of Education, I, Deborah Mason, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, and that I take this obligation freely with no mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations. And I do have a certificate acknowledging your reelection.
Thank you. And I think you have a party to get to, don't you?
10 minutes. President Mason,
Yes.
we also have a certificate acknowledging your reelection.
All righty.
There you go.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't planned to say anything. My family is not here with us tonight because half of them are ill, and the ones that are well have to take care of the ones that are sick. So they are watching on the live stream. So I want to say a shout out to my grandson Bowie and my newfound friend Amelia. So I had fully anticipated that I would need to run a full-fledged campaign and was surprised to be unopposed in seeking this position. I am flattered by my community and look forward to continuous service of the students and families in my area as well as the entire school district. And I want to thank all of the staff members in the Mount Diablo School District for their support for all of our children and families. It's been a challenging 2.5, 3 years. We're going to start a new year with a clean slate and do more and better things for our children and families. So that's it.
Business hand. Please raise your right hand. And this is for the office of Mount Diablo Unified School District Board of Education. I
I, Linda Mayo,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We always have to cover it in paper, right?
Proof that you were.
That's a good thing.
Next, we have trustee Count, and I believe you have someone here. All right. Would you like to say a few words?
I would. I'll invite him on up here. So Asim Yahya is here with me tonight to provide the oath. But before we start, I do want to say a few words of thank you. First of all, to my family, who are all have many other things that they're doing this evening. But to my husband, Sandy, and my kids and my mom, who have, thank you for supporting what it takes for me to be able to put the time and the energy and the focus to be able to do this school board role to the best of my ability. And I want to thank my campaign team. Asim Yahya, who's here tonight, has been my campaign manager and did an incredible job. And together, our whole team, was a really grassroots effort that knocked on so many doors and talked to so many people. And I really saw it as not so much a campaign for me as much as it was a campaign for engaging the public in supporting our public schools and making them welcoming, inclusive, safe places for our students and staff and families to be. And so it was really an honor to be able to get out there and talk to people throughout our communities. So Asim, come on up. So for those of you who don't know, Asim Yahya is an MDUSD alum. He was a graduate of Concord High. I believe you were valedictorian, is that right? ASB president. So he's been a student leader and mentor to so many other students from many years ago. Then went on to UC Berkeley and is now a graduate of Cal Berkeley. And has many things he's going to do into the future as well. It's his whole family does so much for the community. So I'm so thankful.
All right, ready? So this is for the Mount Diablo Unified School District Board of Education. I, Sharice Cowan,
I, Sharice Cowan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to.
All right, awesome.
Proof that you were elected. There you go. Right. Yeah, congratulations.
All righty. We'll now move on to the next item on our agenda, which is review and potential approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes for the regular board meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
and that passes 5+1. Next on the agenda, 6.5 is review and potential approval of the agenda. Dr. Clark,
I have no changes.
I move that we approve the agenda.
thank you.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
and that passes 5+1 as well. Now we have the report out from our closed session. 7.1 negotiations. The board may discuss negotiations or provide direction to its representatives regarding represented and unrepresented employees pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The board received information on this item. 7.2 discipline, dismissal, release, or reassignment of public employees, Section Government Code Section 54957B1. In closed session, the board voted 5-0 with no abstentions. The board took action to approve the resignation of employees ID number 23345 and employee ID number 12923 per their agreements. In closed session by a vote of 5-0 with no abstentions, the board took action to accept the resignation of employee ID 43011. 7.3, public employees performance evaluation, superintendent pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The board had a discussion with the superintendent about his evaluation goals. 7.4, readmission of student 02-23 to regular schools in the Mount Diablo Unified School District. The board, by a vote of 5-0, moved to approve the readmission of student 02-23 to Mount Diablo Unified School District. And that concluded our closed session items. We're now on public comment. First up, we have Jeanette Green.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Green, and I'm here representing Holbrook Academy. I am part of the PFC Club, and I'm also basically the guardian of the Holbrook community. I'm here to find out status on where we are with the replacement of the HVAC system and the heating for the children. Per emails that have been going around for months and weeks, we don't see any solution that has been brought to the table in fixing these issues. We still have rooms that have no heating for the kindergartners. To my knowledge, Deborah, you were replied to one of the parents and said, quote, "I'll look into it. I thought it was fixed," and we have not heard back from you. Also, we asked Sylvia, the principal, and she sent out this standard statement, which is the same statement that the school board has been giving the public. So I'm here to find out where you guys are, also to let you know that there are parents who are going to be calling the media again, Channel 4 and Channel 7, to continue the story on why the HVAC is still not fixed. And then also to let you know that there's rumblings that parents are going to be having a walkout if this isn't taken care of. So just to let you guys know that we're waiting to see where you guys are by the end of this week. If not, there is the potential that Holbrook will have a walkout for the fact that the board does not provide an information on where we are. The other thing too that I would like to request from the board is due to the Information Freedom Act, I would like to request records of the maintenance logs for the HVAC for Holbrook Academy. And I would like documentation as to when the board or you, Dr. Clark, sent out an email when for those parts that needed to be ordered and basically replaced. You have my email there. I look forward to those copies. And then we'll wait as parents to see where we are and when these children are going to get the heating that they need, because these kindergartners are freezing. If any of you been out there, they're all bundled up. They look like they're going to the Sierras, and that's totally uncalled for. And second of all, those space heaters are dangerous. We've already had multiple kids basically knock them over. Thank God some of them are electric that they turn off, but children are curious and they like to touch things. So I would recommend that, I'll be honest, do your job. These kids are freezing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kip Pavinovich.
Good evening. Start with this. For the love of God, can I get replacement filters for my air purifier? I've been asking since spring of last year. And I've gone up to my administration multiple times and they said, we've contacted people. They're aware of it. So either the purchasers or the vendors suck. I could go and buy them myself. If you were to tell me, we'll reimburse you, I can go get them within a week and a half. They're out. All my purifier is a circulator. And I'm getting weekly notifications of people on campus who are, catching COVID. So if there could be anything done to take care of that, that would be great. And I hope you can afford it because it only costs about $400. And I see that the revenues increased by 100 million. So I'm hoping that somewhere you can find a few $100 in there to take care of that. The question that I have, I hope you'll ask, is where did that come from? Because that wasn't in your original budget. And when I looked through the presentation, I didn't really see, all I saw were arrows. Big number, but I saw nothing about where did this come from? It is all in restricted with 60 million of it coming under other state revenue and 30 million coming from other federal, but that's all I know. I hope you'll ask for some details. I've been here when you've asked questions about, did we spend all our Title I? Title I is about $9 million.
Is this on the agenda, Madam President?
Under the budget.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be discussing the first interim later on in the meeting, so.
So I hope you'll ask where that came from.
Right.
And I would love to stay, but I got a
Thank
day
you.
job that I got to take care of and correct papers. So
Thank you.
hope I'll be, it's like the radio. I'll take my answer off the air. Hopefully I'll hear something during item 18.1.
Okay. Linda Ortiz. Ortega, I'm sorry.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Clark, members of the audience. My name is Linda Ortega, Medea Vice President. Tonight, I would like to address special education and our resource teachers. I know this is public comment, so I wanted to address it here. I've received many concerns over the course since the beginning of the school year, and I just want to bring this to your attention. Since the beginning of the school year, many of our SDC and RS classes are functioning without aides or SEAs. The SEAs assist our teachers with specific services that are outlined in the student's IEP, the individual education program process. Specifically at Northgate, I received some emails. I was told that there are only 2 SEAs who support 4 resource teachers. How is this good for our students? Our teachers are having to provide the academic supports on top of some of the daily routines that are necessary to assist a student to function in the classroom setting. Again, how does this support the needs of our students? I also know that some SDC teachers across the district, their caseloads are over their limits, and our teachers are having to balance the extra amount of paperwork, testing, and academic support required for students to meet their IEP goals. One example that was shared with me recently is the amount of outside MDUSD school assessments that our teachers are having to do to provide to some of their outside of their caseloads. How is this providing individual help to our students? This additional workload takes available time away from the needs of the students that are on a teacher's daily caseload. Bottom line, our SDC and resource teachers need additional support and the time in order to focus on their students' individual goals. Please take the steps necessary to support our students. And I also want to let you know that we have a group of teachers here who have begged me and emailed me and please bring to your attention these needs. So they will be following me, and I will come back at to read another teacher's response. Thank you.
Thank you. Amber, is it Isherwood? Or is it I as a middle initial? I'm not. Isherwood, okay.
Hello. Paraprofessionals are the lifeblood of special education, as their duties ensure that students receive the necessary support that allow them to access their learning environments. The unprecedented vacancies that have surged in the past few years are disproportionately impacting students who receive special education services. The more complex the need, the greater the shortage. And we see this reflected in our district, where SEAs who work in the special day class settings, such as extensive needs, intensive autism, and counseling enriched programs, are the most difficult to fill positions. Each year, we have more retirees that are not being replaced. Teachers with paraprofessional openings are being told that jobs have been posted, but nobody's applying. And all the while, our most vulnerable students are paying the price with their education because their learning environments are constantly disrupted. Some of us have been told that we're in the middle of a labor shortage, but that rhetoric seeks to shift the blame onto a workforce that is pushing back against exploitive wages. Unfortunately, our most vulnerable students are disproportionately impacted each day because we've not done the hard work to reverse years of depressed wages and benefits. Speaking of wages, I took the time to see what the starting salary is right now for a paraprofessional SEA2 with job duties that look more like that of a nurse than an educational assistant, including feeding, toileting, and behavior support. Currently, MDUSD is paying $16.79 per hour for a 6-hour SEA2, meaning that individual will net under $100 for a school day. My daughter, fresh out of high school, is earning more working at Crumble Cookie. When we speak of raises in terms of percentages, that only works if the base salary is significant. 20% of next to nothing is still next to nothing. I'm of the opinion that paraprofessionals that work in SDC classes and the aforementioned classes should be compensated at $25 an hour minimum starting. The last 2 years, we've seen inflation soar to 7% each year. And not surprisingly, our poorest paid positions are the last to be filled. But what should be surprising is that many of our lowest paid positions that are those that work directly with students who have special needs. I work in an extensive needs classroom, supporting students who require additional support to access their learning environment. Their very health and safety is dependent upon these supports. In my classroom alone, I've had 4 paraprofessional openings without a single applicant, and it's December. And in a desperate attempt to offer some support, the district has worked with contract companies to fill some of the gaps, but they're just temporary. The contracted employees are paid a much higher rate, and frankly, it's insulting to our current district staff. The turnover among contractors is high, and my students struggle greatly with transition, and developing relationships is critical to their success. Having a revolving door of support staff only further impacts their learning. The pervasive deficit of paraprofessional staffing is an issue, and I'm seeing this impact students daily, and it needs to be addressed. I teach neurodiverse students who aren't able to advocate for themselves and must rely on the advocacy of others. My classroom is far from an isolated case, as colleagues from elementary to Bridge have confirmed they're in similar situations. Substitute paraprofessionals are
You can
non-existent,
wrap up.
and if staff calls out sick, the entire classroom and students feel the deficit. The greatest impacts are being placed on our most vulnerable students, and frankly, this is unacceptable. I am petitioning the board to consider any means necessary to ensure students in special education are no longer shouldering this burden.
Thank you. Marissa Sullivan.
Good evening. I'll be speaking on behalf of a DHH teacher. I am writing to raise concerns about the impact of shortages in special education on our students. We are currently facing a severe lack of special education aides, SEAs, in our DHH classroom. Instead of having 2 SEAs, we only have 1. And as a result, it is difficult to implement IEP goals of our students, which is of great concern. Furthermore, our speech therapist is leaving and is not seeing my students as per their IEP speech minutes this year. Many of the DHA students have gone without speech services this school year. They also went without speech services from August 2020 to October 2021. I understand that staffing shortages are a real issue in special education, but I strongly believe that these shortages are having a huge detrimental effect on our students. I believe that we must take action to ensure that our students receive the support that they need and deserve. Thank you for your time. I look forward to hearing your response.
Thank you. Kenzie McLaughlin.
Good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of Shaylin's Preschool. Probably going to get emotional. I wrote you another email detailing my specific issues. I'm also going to speak on behalf of another teacher. Reducing the number of special education assistants from 4 to 3 and reducing their working hours from 6 to 5 has been exceptionally challenging for special needs autism classrooms. The shortage of SEAs due to poor compensation and tough work has already been a challenge, let alone the new reduced hours and assistance. Without adequate support staff in special education, children are unsafe and being underattended when staff have to go on their breaks as planned. In addition, teachers are wasting time spending cleaning up the classroom and prepping instead of managing the children and their learning objectives. This grossly endangers children and their safe learning, among other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig Yin.
My name is Craig Yen. I serve on the executive board of Medea as an elementary delegate, and I'm speaking on behalf of a resource specialist tonight. Dear Board of Directors, I have worked in the Mount Diablo Unified School District for 28 years. I have worked in various special education settings. I worked in high school, SDC, and RS programs, that's special day class and resource specialist programs, as well as in elementary RS. The diversity of my experience has given me insight into the many facets of these positions. Since beginning my experience 13 years ago in elementary resource, I was surprised by the number of challenges. Interventions are needed at all 6th grade levels. There are a high number of children with symptoms of dyslexia and autism, as well as students with extreme behavioral challenges. In addition to the IEPs, there are SSTs and care team meetings. In addition to those challenges above, there's also 2 issues that have made the RS position even more demanding. First, there's been a progressive increase in the number of private school requests for assessment. There are timelines which must be met in pre and post meetings with staff that are not part of the school day. The testing itself takes several hours to do and is difficult to schedule. After the assessment, hours of paperwork must be completed. Most of the private schools do not seek public school placement, even when qualifying for special education. None of the work is counted toward the RS placement, even when qualifying for special education. None of the work is counted toward the RS caseload, and the work is expected to be done in addition to all of the other tasks that already come as the RS job at a particular site. I think that schools should get some level of support for private school assessments. Second, the assistant shortage, has had a detrimental impact on the students in the RS programs. There are very few candidates, if any. Students needing in-class support in general education, as well as help within the resource program, are not getting the support that they need. Resource specialists are working with the most challenged students, educationally and behaviorally. Please help keep qualified teachers in these vitally important positions by supporting Medea and helping alleviate the special education assistant shortage and allowing for more support for the private school assessments. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Linda Ortega on behalf of another teacher.
Thank you. This is from another preschool teacher at the Shaylins. This preschool center serves students with various learning disabilities and severities. I'm writing this letter in support of the autism-specific classes in which the number of special education assistants has diminished to 3 instead of 4. I have had the experience of teaching in an autism-specific classroom for 1 year with 5 assistants, and it was highly challenging. I see the classroom teams dealing with students with specific behavioral needs in highly stressful situations. Having 4 SEAs was even tough, depending on the level of support the students needed. Having 3 assistants is atrocious for the team and the students. I am appealing to the district to please provide some relief for these dedicated teachers and SEAs to enable them to work in a safe working environment by restoring the number of SEAs to 4 and hiring all the and filling in all the vacancies. This comes from a caring member of the Shaylins team. Thank you.
Thank you. And Liz Connaughton.
Good evening. Thank you for having us this evening. My name is Liz Connaughton. I am currently a resource specialist at College Park High School. This is my 26th year as a credentialed educator and came to this district at 18 years. I'm also a private business owner of a company that employs 65 people. And this becomes, this gives me another view of how we value employees. I'd like to start by speaking on behalf of 3 teachers that have asked me to, special ed teachers, resource, and SCC, what we call learning handicap classes. The first one is in reference to the support through professional development. It reads, as a newer special education teacher, I jump at any opportunity for professional development. I have attended the 2 full days offered by the district. Total train wreck. I, among lots of other teachers, left disappointed, angry, confused. Some were even laughing at how ridiculous it was, period. The next I have to share is on the behalf of a resource teacher. Writing, what the district has offered to new teachers is understandable. We are in a time of extreme shortage and our universities aren't producing a lot more special educators. We understand the incentives that have been placed $10,000 for some of the unicorns, so to speak, of teaching. When I approached my administrator and asked if there was anything that was going to be done on behalf of the teachers that were already working, the ones that you would really want to retain and not give up, I was met with the reply of, you guys got the raise with the rest of the teachers. Next. In the issue of support and value, we are charged every day to have students feel valued. Feeling valued is one of the very first foundational things to get students who already are struggling to learn, to engage, and work even harder many times than their general education peers to overcome hurdles that others don't face. The moment they are not valued and not recognized, they disengage in the learning process. They disengage socially. They are left without relationships, some being the only relationships that talk to them throughout the day. This is not something that can be afforded. At this point, when we are expected to attend school and work and show students that they're valued, it is quite upsetting to feel that we are not valued as educators. In closing, there was a very brief survey provided to a total of 37 special educators, in which they were asked, please write one word that best describes how you feel about being a special education teacher in Mount Diablo. Some of the answers were overloaded, unsupported, stressed, undervalued, ignored, disrespected,
If you can wrap up. Thank you.
manipulated. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I think that is all of our public comment. Okay, at this time, it's district organizations can address the board. Let's see if we have a card here. Oh, we got one more public comment from Audrey Fisher, okay.
Hi, you guys. I'm Audrey Fisher, and I am here as a parent, which is why I was a little late to add my notebook in. My husband's a teacher over in Pittsburgh, so first and foremost, there's like the great appreciation for teachers. And I have to say, as a parent of a fourth grader over in Silverwood, I've had such a joyous academic journey. She tests really high, which is great. So I'm hearing a lot of these supports people need, and I'm grateful that I'm not in that boat. However, part of my child's wonderful academic journey is everybody else having the support that they need. So I'm here to really kind of advocate for everybody as a whole, because if she's reading at a 9th grade level in 4th grade, but other people are really lacking, that kind of brings down the entire experience. But if they have the support that they need in their class, they can be raised up, and then she's able to, enjoy her classroom experience as well. So kind of item number one that I wanted to ask about specifically was reading support in the district and what we're doing to help the children read better, or read more appropriate to grade level. I know my other child is in TK, and I've been told you don't have to read in TK, so I have time to help with her. I think even 1st grade we're okay. Just kidding, she's almost there. Another question that I have is really forward thinking, and it's the academy closures. Obviously, there's been a lot of buzz going on this. That's very far down the road from me. High school, she's in 4th grade. Am I neurotic for bringing this up? Yes, I am. This is why I was a biochem major. Just kidding. I'm also in sales now, so I chit chat all day. But academy closures, what's going on with this? How is this being supported? What's the pathway for her? And if there could be additional transparency to that. Another item that was directly affecting us this year was the music program loss that we had for 4th grade. Obviously, she's immediately in 4th grade. all of that funding was cut. Would like to see that reinstated, or why do we not have this, reinstated again? Not only do I have an additional child coming through, but again, you have to think of this as a whole, and it's for an entire community. The better the community does, the better the experience is as a whole for everybody. And then, just very superficially, I know I'm not an educator, so I don't have a lot of in-depth education to this stuff, but there appears to be a budget surplus of $41 million. So I hear a lot of these things that people are, having to step up here to advocate for additional aides in the classroom. Of course, yes, but what are some of the things that we're doing that maybe don't require an additional personnel? What kind of tools are we sending home with the students, not only for support on the IEP side, but also enrichment for the students, who are maybe testing above grade level, so that we can also keep them engaged, and then the regular students. And I think I'm over time now. So I want to say thanks for having me up here. Thanks.
Thank you. And then we are under communications, district organizations, irregular board meetings. A single spokesperson of each recognized district organization may make a brief presentation. Items are linked to those which are informational. Anita Johnson.
Good evening. I am Anita Johnson, President of Mount Diablo Education Association. My pronouns are she and her. Medea is a united group of educators working together for the benefit of the students of the Mount Diablo Unified School District. The first thing I would like to address this evening is great news. Proposition 28 was passed by the voters in November. This measure will provide $4.4 million for the schools in our district each year and every year. There is reason to hope that this funding will provide additional ways to help our students. This funding can be used for additional arts classes in all areas of the arts: music, painting, drama, dance, drawing, ceramics, textiles, cooking, sketching, comics, coding, dance. The list is endless. And we know that our students need more ways to express themselves, and more ways to experience joy, and more ways to build connections with their communities. This funding will give students those opportunities. These experiences will build the social emotional intelligence of our students and help them process and cope with difficulties they may be facing. These experiences will help everyone in our community learn more about each other and grow in understanding diverse cultures. I'm very excited about the potential. Proposition 28 specifies that the use of the funding is at the discretion of each site principal, and 80% must be used for staffing. I encourage you as trustees to direct staff to support principals in this decision-making process so that they can choose uses for the funding that will maximize benefits for students. Please make sure that principals know about this new funding and understand the process for implementing their decisions. Please make sure that all sites have a strong plan in place and begin utilizing the funding at the earliest possible date this fall. Now I must turn from good news to bad, from hope to horrible. The superintendent is creating a culture in this district in which managers are allowed to and even encouraged to violate the contract. In the past, superintendents in this district respected our contract and recognized it as an agreement between both parties. The current superintendent does not seem to understand that even though he was not involved when the agreement was negotiated, he is still required to ensure that the district as an organization follows the terms of the agreement. As superintendent, he is responsible for the organization. That means making sure all managers and all decisions comply with the terms of the agreement, all of the terms. And I'm sure he will understand why I have to call this out. We are taking more violations to arbitration than ever before. The procedure outlined in the contract to address violations is the grievance process. After trying to resolve an issue informally, we file a grievance to get a formal response from the administrator. In the past, most issues have been resolved at this first level because an administrator learns the requirements of the contract and alters their decision to comply. Now we have to file second step grievances, and then when that does not resolve the issue, we move to arbitration. We are currently in arbitration over 4 different grievances. In the past, we have had approximately 1 arbitration every other year. A while back, we went 5 years without having to go to arbitration. Now we have 4 arbitrations. That is an indication that there is a serious problem in the district. The problem is a culture and a management team that does not value teachers. And as a result of this culture, students are being negatively affected. My biggest topic for this evening is student behavior. I have been involved in more situations in this first half of the year than I care to remember. Each one breaks my heart. Teachers call me because they know that despite their excellent classroom management skills, one student is ruining school for their whole class. These teachers need help, and they don't know where to turn. Student behavior is complicated. Most disruptive student behavior can be avoided by or limited by good classroom management skills. However, we are seeing an increase in students who are not able or not willing to behave appropriately, despite clear expectations and classroom support. I have personally experienced an exponential increase in the number of such cases in the last 5 years. While COVID definitely had an impact on students, this trend began before the pandemic. My analysis has indicated more than 57 reasons for the marked change in student behavior. I will summarize the most prevalent. Number 1, we know that the standards of behavior portrayed in the media have changed significantly for the worse. Number 2, there has been an increase in the percentage of students who are presenting with difficulties in controlling their behavior due to physical conditions. Number 3, the district's special education placement policies have changed, causing many students with special needs to be placed in general education settings. In the past, such students would have been placed in special education settings. While overall, the move toward more inclusion is good practice, the district has not implemented sufficient measures to support these students in being successful in general education settings. Number 4, students who exhibit inappropriate behavior are in our rooms and schools more because they are not being suspended and no alternative interventions are being implemented. Suspensions are not the answer, but if this tool is limited, others need to be provided as replacements. Number 5, the video gaming culture promotes and models abusive behavior and language. Number 6, parenting styles have changed. Number 7, some students are spending more time with screens and less time interacting with people, leading to a decline in their social skills. Number 8, collaboration and communication among the staff at school sites has been significantly reduced this year due to other demands on schedules. The loss of time to discuss procedures, as well as discuss individual students, is causing more of these cases to be neglected. Number 9, inappropriate behavior that is not addressed becomes a model for other students to follow. Number 10, there is a serious disconnect between the sites and management here at Dent regarding this issue. Management seems to sit in their quiet offices and come up with theories and programs and unrealistic expectations with no real knowledge of what students, teachers, or even principals are experiencing around student behavior. It's one thing to be an armchair quarterback and say that teachers should have better classroom management skills. It is so easy to blame teachers that administrators don't understand the complexity of some of these cases. For these reasons and many more, there is an increase in the number of students who need extra support in learning to control their behavior. I acknowledge that the district has some systems in place to help these students, including a diagram of prescribed procedures for accessing support for student behavior and a behavior observation request form, BORF. However, the supports available do not match the magnitude of the issue. As a result, students are experiencing trauma and whole classes are losing significant amounts of learning time. To better support all students around this issue, the district needs to, number one, provide more district staff support in the form of behaviorists, behavior technicians, and SEAs by funding more positions and hiring more people. The reality we are living in is that teachers follow all of the prescribed procedures and the students are confirmed to qualify and need additional support, only to then be told that there are no personnel available to provide the support. Number two, make more placements available in special support programs, such as the Counseling Enriched program. The reality we are living is that teachers follow all of the prescribed procedures and the students are confirmed to qualify for and need a special placement. Then the team is told that there are no spots available in the designated program. Number three, fund and fill more positions associated with the behavior assessment process, including psychologists, behaviorists, and speech therapists. The prescribed procedures for even determining if a student qualifies for more support is seriously undermined by vacancies in staff roles responsible for assessment and observation. Number four, provide more communication to staff members regarding how to help students access the supports that are available. Number five, train staff members in implementing all of the procedures that have been developed around this issue. Number six, in particular, train and support principals in their role in student discipline. Number seven, remind principals and other administrators that it is illegal for a student to videotape a teacher without their permission. Ensure that principals seriously address each known violation. Number eight, provide more preparation time to teachers so that they can follow the prescribed procedures with fidelity, including entering all information about disruptive incidents into ARIES. Time is also needed to communicate with parents, strategize, consult with other support providers and advisors in the district, provide information to management, and fill out forms. Number nine, provide more staff collaboration time, especially to make the Positive Behavior Intervention System, PBIS, and the multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS, work. The need for more collaboration time is so great that we are calling on management to eliminate the New Teacher Project. The project is taking an excessive amount of time that was otherwise used for collaboration and communication. Everyone I've asked about the New Teacher Project has stated that it is not worth the time that it requires. Most people say they're not learning anything new or valuable. And number 10, if a teacher is assigned a student who is known to have violent outbursts, she should receive training in proper restraint. So many staff members are being injured because they are placed in situations in which they need to restrain a student to protect others. Because they aren't trained, they are getting hurt. Many staff members are on long-term medical leave because of this. It could be and should be avoided. What we would like management to know is that to actually help a student learn to behave appropriately takes time. Teachers don't walk out of their credential program with a bag full of strategies that automatically ensure that every student assigned to their classroom will be able to control their behavior. Even the most experienced educators have to spend time getting to know each individual student and the dynamics of each different class and discovering a set of strategies that work well, and then reinventing the whole system every time something changes the dynamic. All of this takes time. Sometimes it's just time to sit and think. Sometimes there's a need to catch one's breath in order to be fully prepared for the students. Preparation time for teachers is like vitamins for students. Administrators think of prep time as a gift that they give teachers, but the real beneficiaries are students. Rather than vitamins, a better analogy might be fresh vegetables. Preparing healthful meals takes time, but we all know that fresh vegetables are so much better for us and the children. When a teacher has time to plan a lesson that is appropriate for students, time to reflect on the best approach to student behavior, and time to implement procedures around student behavior, such as completing the behavior observation referral form, class time is much more effective. Prep time and lower class sizes are especially important if students are returning to our room more quickly after incidents of inappropriate behavior. They are returning more quickly because they are not being suspended like they used to be. And it's good that we are encouraging fewer suspensions. But if the students have changed, the system needs to change as well. Suspensions are not the answer, but we need other tools. We need an array of strong tools that principals, teachers, and parents understand well. It's like the fires California has been experiencing. The increased number of fires is caused by two changes in the environment: longer periods of dry weather and stronger winds. To adapt to the greater possibility of fires, the state needs to change. One of the adaptations is to bury the power lines. It won't be easy and it won't be cheap, but it will reduce the number of fires, saving countless lives. Similarly, our district needs to adapt to the changes in student behavior. We know our school environments have changed in at least two ways. Students behave inappropriately more often, and suspensions have been limited as a tool. Please recognize these changes and help the system to change to adapt. Change is difficult. The current management team might not be up to the task, but it's important. It will take leadership. And I'm asking you as trustees who care about our students to be the change makers and help our students, help our systems adapt. In the past, principals took responsibility to support teachers in addressing inappropriate behavior. They knew how to talk to students and would suspend if necessary. Principals now say they have been told not to suspend. This message in itself shows how poorly trained and supported the principals are. Do they understand why suspension is often not the best approach? Do they know alternatives? Do they know their role? I've come to realize that around the issue of suspensions, one of two things is happening. Either A, principals have determined that if they aren't going to suspend a student, there's no reason to be involved in discipline, or B, principals have been told this directly, that they shouldn't be involved in discipline. In many schools, student discipline has become either by default or design the sole responsibility of the teachers. Yet teachers have gotten no additional support, no additional training, and no additional prep time. Instead, we have gotten more bureaucratic task assignments, more directives, more deadlines, and more useless training. The current system is designed to put students in a room with a teacher for the lowest possible cost. Let's all be honest about that. Please don't let management fool you into thinking that any of the programs and management positions they are getting you to spend money on are actually helping students. Any help that teachers are able to get for students, teachers do on their own, and they do it in spite of obstructions created by management. All we get from administrators is excuses. We need a superintendent who can do more than make excuses. Students are being traumatized by classmates that are acting out. They're enduring assaults, tantrums, and violent outbursts. In addition to being traumatized, the students' whole affected classes are losing out on learning. Students cannot learn when someone in the room is hitting the teacher, swearing, yelling, threatening, spitting, or throwing chairs. The emotional upset caused by one outbreak can ruin a whole class's ability to learn for the rest of the day, and makes it much less likely that the student will want to return to school the next day. Someone needs to do something. Almost done. The district is losing about one teacher a week, and I'm not including normal losses like retirement and people who move away. These are teachers that reached the point where working in our district was no longer sustainable because of the continued lack of support from management and intolerable working conditions and stress. We are getting more and more calls from teachers who want to know how to leave the district. The district has failed these teachers and failed their students. Teachers are leaving because they are not getting the support they need. Teachers are leaving because they are injured, because they did not get the training they needed. And the district is losing teachers. And there are fewer people entering the profession. The district needs to keep the teachers it has. Districts with effective management are already focusing on this. Their students will benefit in the future by having trained, experienced, and supported teachers. What steps are you taking now as a board to safeguard our students' future education? And in summary, Proposition 28 is a great opportunity to support students. The superintendent is creating a culture that allows and even encourage administrators to violate our contract. The negative impacts on our students are serious and growing. Students are being traumatized and losing learning opportunities because the district's system for supporting students with behavior-related disorders is inadequate and understaffed. The district is losing about 1 teacher a week due to lack of respect and support from management. And students are negatively impacted because staff at sites are not getting enough time to collaborate and teachers are not getting enough time to prepare. Out-of-touch central office staff are imposing programs and mandates without regard to the organization's other needs. The worst offender, the new teacher project, must be eliminated immediately. These are all growing problems in our district. I am bringing them to you so that you have an opportunity to respond before there are permanent consequences for students. Please direct your management team to start providing sufficient support. And please, please get involved and research these issues for yourself. Meet with teachers who contact you, hear their side of the story, question your management staff, look at the data yourself. I appreciate all that you do. You are all dedicating untold volunteer hours to the district. That is appreciated. I know you all care deeply about the students in our district and the experiences they encounter on our campus. You want what is best for students. If you have any questions about the issues I brought to you, please contact me. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. Righty. That takes us to 10.0, public employee appointments. 10.1, review and potential approval of classified personnel appointment, Dr. Clark.
Mr. Shibley is going to welcome these new folks aboard. So let's go ahead and let's start with the next 3 items.
Yep,
Great.
thank you. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Bridget Hopkins as the Data Integration Administrator in the Information Technology Department. Bridget has worked for MDUSD since 2009 and has held several positions within the district, including Site Tech 2, Network Technician 1, and most recently, Systems Network Administrator. Bridget has also worked in the private sector, serving in different positions within information technology. Bridget has completed professional development courses in order to prep to obtain a CCNA certification. Bridget is looking forward to continuing her skills in problem solving and working one-on-one with teachers, staff, students, and administrators to make their systems work when things go wrong. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'll move that the board approve Bridget Hopkins as Data Integration Administrator.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in 2 seconds. I think trustee Mayo got in that first. Okay. Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
passes 5+1. Congratulations, Bridget, you here?
Who's not able to attend tonight.
Okay.
All right, moving on to our next item. The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Scott Metz as the warehouse supervisor in the Purchasing and Warehouse Department. Scott has worked for MDUSD since 1996 and has held several positions within the district, including custodian, truck driver, and most recently, warehouse lead worker. Scott graduated from MDUSD, as did his kids. In January, Scott will have been with MDUSD for 28 years. 23 of those years, he has worked in the warehouse. With that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
I move that we appoint Scott Metz as the warehouse supervisor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Nava Flores.
Yes.
Thank you. And that passes 5+1. Is Scott here?
Yeah. Thank you.
How you all doing?
Congrats.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Grateful for the opportunity. I care a lot about this district and I hope to do a very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
The Human Resources Department is bringing for the board's review and potential approval the appointment of Estrella Estrada as a social work specialist for the school and community services. Estrella has worked as a school social work intern for schooling services at MDUSD, supporting foster youth and students who were also in the homeless outreach program. Shortly after, Estrella worked in child welfare for about 2 years, where she had the opportunity to advocate for foster youth in public schools by attending IEP meetings, collaborating with school sites, advocating for children and their needs, all while continuously assessing the child's risk and safety. Estrella holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and social behavior and a master's degree in social welfare. Estrella is looking forward to collaborating with other social work specialists, school staff, district-wide staff, and students and their families to best meet their needs to eliminate barriers in their education as much as possible. And with that, I leave this appointment in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve Estrella Estrada as social work specialist.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustee Nava Flores?
Yes.
And that is true. Come on up, Estelle.
Thank you all for the wonderful introduction. I'm very happy to join the MDUSD team. I was a prior social work intern at MDUSD, so I'm very excited to come back with more knowledge and be able to support our foster youth program through the school and community services for HOPE, which is Homeless and Outreach Program, and foster youth, and reduce the barriers for their education. So I'm very excited. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, that takes us to 11.1, review and potential approval of the school plans for student achievement. Dr. Clark.
Yes, so again, as you know, board, we bring forward just a sample of the plans. That's what we provide to the board, but every one of our schools has a plan. And so I see in the audience, we do have a couple principals who are here tonight to answer any questions, but Ms. Filios is going to lead this item. And so I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Filios.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, President Mason, and board trustees. The Educational Services Department presents the 2022-23 school plans for student achievement to the Board of Education for review and approval at the upcoming January meeting. We would like to thank all of our sites and educational partners who provided feedback during the planning process. All SIPSs are aligned to the district LCAP goals, including the new fourth goal focused on our focal scholar students. The SIPSs include the required components as defined by the state, and Title I school plans include a comprehensive needs assessment, including a review of resource inequities and educational partner involvement. The school plans represent a Plan, Do, Study, Act PDSA model, beginning with review of student achievement and school climate data, and effectiveness of last year's planned activities and expenditures. All school plans are created with input from stakeholder groups and are reviewed and approved by school site councils. All schools under comprehensive school improvement have included CSI strategies and expenditures in the SIPSA, including current evidence-based strategies for school improvement. It is my pleasure to introduce our site principals who are representing our elementary, middle, and high school plans tonight. Lourdes Belache from Cambridge Elementary School, Bruce Burns from Silverwood Elementary School, Chris Clausen is here representing Sequoia Middle School, and Dr. Markel McCain from Mount Diablo High School.
Okay, I would just say first, we appreciate all the work, not just from you four here tonight, but it's a lot of work to put these together. And I know I read them all. I'm pretty sure the rest of the board reads them all. So I always like to call out a few of the things that resonated with me. For Cambridge, the student engagement piece that you talked about and the fact that you still have the Platypus meetings going on was very encouraging to me. Silverwood, they're refocusing really on PBIS after coming back. That was exciting to me. Sequoia, that they're exploring a wellness center. And then at Mount Diablo to see that the community center is still going strong there, since I was here way back when it first opened, and it's still going strong. And really to see your outlook on how things can really change at Mount Diablo was very encouraging to me. I need to come and visit you more often. So I really want to just say I appreciate all the work that goes into it. And I'll leave it to the rest of my board members if they have anything they want to comment on. If not, we'll just go ahead and approve them.
So
Okay.
as a student that actually attends Mount Diablo High School and has been there my entire high school career, I definitely can say that this year you feel the stability and that there is a more stronger structure in the aspects of student support. And again, as a student, having clarity and having transparency in what is going on with our education, how we're fixing the problems and the solutions that we are addressing is something very important so that we can succeed, but we are also knowledgeable, again, in what's happening right now, what's going to happen in the future and for the future generations. So I appreciate all the work that you do, that our principals do, and thank you for all the work that you do. Thank
you. I would like to second all the thank yous that are happening because it is definitely a lot of work. And I just want to appreciate everyone who's been involved in these SPSA, the school plans for student achievement at each of the school sites. I know it's hard to get a group together that is fully representative, that has the student engagement, that has the parent engagement, that is at a meeting time and place that all of those people can come together and discuss in detail how the funds at the school are going to be spent. So I just want to encourage people out there that have not been on their school site councils to get involved. A lot of times I get a question from a parent or community member about, why don't we have money for this particular thing? And then I ask, have you asked your school site council? Have you gotten involved at your school site in the decision making? And sometimes they don't know what that is or that it exists. So the more that we do to get involved at our school site, the better. One of the things I want to appreciate about these plans is I'm starting to see more specificity about how those dollars are going to be spent. Sometimes it's very easy to make a plan and say, okay, there's this amount of dollars for professional development. And then the end of the year comes and there's unspent funds. And we wonder why. Well, it's because 50 school sites, if everybody has pieces of unspent funds that they didn't decide which professional development or which items they were going to purchase, it's very easy for a school year to go past really quickly. So to that end, I think particularly for our schools that have specific funds like Title I funding or things like that, that is unspent funds that stays restricted, right? That needs to be rolled over to the next year and still needs to be spent. So for those of you out there at these schools, take a look at your school site plan, ask questions, get involved, and particularly help your principal to figure out what's the best, most effective way to spend especially any funds that have rolled over from the previous year so that we can really invest in our students. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that looks like that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, we appreciate our principals for all their hard work on this.
Yes,
Thank
and we
you, board.
appreciate their taking the time to come to our meeting tonight. So, okay, that takes us to board member reports. You want to start us off, Trustee McFerrin?
Right. All right. Good evening. I will just talk about a few of the events that I've been lucky to attend lately. On November 17th, I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Little Free Anti-Racist Library at El Dorado. I want to thank Rise Up Against Racism, specifically district parents and community members, Meg Honey, Sarah Foster, and Jenny Roy for bringing the little library to one of our campuses. This is the first one, so it's really exciting. And it was
done in collaboration with John Muir Health, who helped with some of the funding. On Friday, December 2nd, I saw Westwood student performance of The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was a musical. I was really impressed by the quality of the show. I wasn't sure what an elementary school musical would be like, and wonderful. So the costumes were really detailed. They were carefully made. The students were really well prepared. The audience members were plentiful. There was kind of standing room only at one point. And it was obvious that a lot of work and care from the students, the staff, and the families went into the performance. And so I really appreciated being there, and I look forward to attending more of these events in the future. And then last Tuesday, I stopped by the CAC holiday party, which was right here in the boardroom and then also in the lobby. And it was clear that there was a lot of effort that went into planning and holding the event. There were lots of games, snacks, and entertainment, and the families that attended looked like they had a lot of fun. So I want to sincerely thank the CAC leadership for putting on such a wonderful, inclusive event for our community that was well enjoyed. And that is all I have for this evening.
Very good. Trustee Nzewi?
Good evening, everybody. I just want to tell you about the School Board Partners Fellowship convening I went to last month in Clinton, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, on the Alex Haley Farms, family farms, which is owned by the Children's Defense Fund. And you're only allowed to go there if you work on behalf of children. So it was that one setting was really beautiful, but what was the best part about it were all the learnings that I took away that I really hope that we can implement to make us the best that we can be for the students in our district. And I'll just narrow it down to really, as a board, we should be focused on student outcomes and talk way less about the adults, and be just solely focused on and asking ourselves, what is, how have I put it, how are we disproportionately ensuring that the students who struggle the most get the highest quality education possible? And I know that among us, we are really motivated by that. And also ensuring that after each board meeting, we leave knowing that we've done good things for kids that day, this day. We should also be data driven. And I know a lot of you really like that. I know the superintendent likes that, and that that we're really transparent with our data. What I learned, I was with school board members from all over the country. And what I took away is that while we have lots of room for improvement, we are way ahead of so many school districts and boards, even in our relationship with the superintendent and how we work and how we have how we influence our own agendas and whatnot, and how we can articulate to our superintendent what we want to hear or what we want to see, and that it actually happens. So that's a really broad brush strokes of what I learned, but you can just narrow it down to we should be focusing our time on students and their outcomes. And I think in the moments that I was hearing that, I knew that the five of us, the five of you all, would really dig that. And and so I really look forward to helping us be that way into the future.
Thank you. And how was that your first visit to Tennessee?
Oh my gosh. It was Tennessee.
Okay. Okay. Trustee Cowan.
All right. I just have a couple of things to share. I've been spending a lot of time with my family and not being able to go to quite all the events that I like to be at. So I appreciate that all of you have been able to go to many of the fabulous performances and events that are going on at this time of year. I was able to make it to the Parent Advisory Committee meeting, and was interested to see that they are starting to think about what can be the bylaws of that committee. How can it be structured going forward where there is more parent leadership of the committee itself?
And that's going to be some of what they're talking about in the upcoming meetings. And so I encourage parents to get involved and take a look at those. Parent Advisory Committee meetings are getting very active. They've been really focused on topics that parents have brought up, like some of the facilities questions that have come up around HVAC and things like that. There was a whole topic of that in the previous Parent Advisory Committee meeting. So it's a great opportunity for people to get involved. In terms of student leadership, I always try to support our student leaders, as you know. So I was honored to be able to celebrate one of our recent alums, Sina Fahardi, who was recognized with the Diablo Magazine Threads of Hope for the organization that he formed here in our district with Mr. Wogan right there. Thank you. Good to see you. With our Hope program for peer-to-peer tutoring, particularly during the pandemic, but it's still going forward and growing. He's now a student at UC Berkeley and is looking at expanding it even wider to more districts throughout our area. So thanks to all of the staff too, Kimberly, who nominated him for the award. And I just want to appreciate people who are open to that type of student leadership. It takes some energy and time to mentor a student as they're trying to create something like that, but it can be so rewarding and so beneficial for so many students when students step up to lead, like our student board member right here. So I also was able to attend the Northgate High School craft fair, which was led by students and brought in not only like artists, student art that was sold there and staff art that was sold there and crafts, but local business vendors as well. Family-owned businesses from our whole area were there, and the students led the whole thing. So it was a wonderful thing to see. So keep up the great work, students. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Mayo.
Thank you, everybody. I've been a little bit low key because I've been under the weather. No, it's not COVID and it's not the flu. I've had a severe asthma attack. I did attend the CSBA conference, and the highlight of the event in my mind was the award of the Golden Bell Award by CSBA to Sunrise Elementary School, and Principal Vargas and our trustee Deborah Mason accepted the award on behalf of the Mount Diablo School District. I want to applaud Teresa Harrington for including the information in the Friday letter and just showing the good work that our district accomplishes every day on behalf of students. The Golden Bell Award examines programs that can be readily replicated across the state, and their goal is to feature these programs so that other school districts and school sites can replicate the programs and improve services for students. Of the sessions, I was able to attend 7 sessions and I missed 4 of the sessions. One of the outstanding sessions was a panel that Dr. Clark presented on. And I think he knocked it out of the park because he provided the first practical steps for trustees and superintendents to undertake, and that is examining the board policies as the foundation that will sustain any initiative that's going to be begun in a district. The other event that I've was able to attend last week was the Community Advisory Committee Holiday Open House for students and parents. It was an outstanding event, and a lot of work was undertaken to make the program and event a wonderful experience, from making different kinds of crafts as well as decorating edibles and many projects that students and parents could do together. And it was an opportunity for special ed parents to experience firsthand the welcoming environment that our CAC committee provides. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing everybody in January 2023.
Right. Trustee Nava Flores.
So I have a lot to say. So I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but keep it detailed. So to start off, in November 19th, I helped plan the college and career fair for my school. But for this fair in particularly, we brought out the different trade schools and community colleges within our area. And we did so again, like having the in the aspect of providing more opportunities for our students and diversifying those opportunities after high school, right? Alternatives alternatives besides a four-year college. Perhaps some students are interested in going straight into a trade school and things like that. So we connected them with that. We also connected them with other community centers throughout Concord. So they came out, and it was a really productive and an effective event. Today, I met with Mr. Maki, the food and nutritional service manager, and we're working together to serve our students a more diverse and inclusive meals, again, for the better of our students' health, but also for their learning. We had a discussion in how food safety and food health really does impact the students' learning. And having these meals that are nutritional and healthy, and again, inclusive with all of students' different diets, we can see success in them being focused in school, having the energy having the energy to go throughout their day. So that was really cool. I also attended, and this is my biggest thing, the California the School Board Association trip in San Diego. And I actually attended the board member section rather than the student section. And I actually appreciate that a lot. And everything that I learned there, everything that I was exposed to, and all the conversations that I was a part of was really powerful. And it was so rich in knowledge and experiences that all these other school districts are doing, right? So some of the strategies that they're implementing, some things that they're leaning for, their priorities, and advice that they give out to other school board members, and how they can implement certain strategies and certain solutions. I really want to touch up on like three of the biggest things that I attended. All the breakout sessions that I was a part of was all connected in the sense of social justice and educational justice, right? With ethnic studies, how it's going to be a requirement by 2024. How can we assure that these classes are taught with dignity and respect and cultural competency? Coachella Valley District presented some ways that they're providing it at their school and having not just ethnic studies, but Latino and Chicano arts, right? Multicultural literacy, and all these different aspects of ethnic studies within our curriculum. Another thing that I want to talk about is like the civic engagement that a Chief Justice of California was there, and they were speaking out about why it's important to be civically active. And again, why it's important to have basic knowledge of how our democracy works, how our government works, how we can protect ourselves and work around the system to ensure that we have our rights are met there. And we, again, like fight for equity every day, and we strive for it. And again, strive for justice in our system. They talked about teachings here in school districts, teaching students to be critical thinkers, innovative thinkers. And again, this is something that I really love that they said. Instead of being a part of the problem, you are a part of the solution. Differentiating those two things. And again, acknowledging that these are two different things. And again, work, instead of being a part of the problem, you are a part of the solution. And how we can incorporate students within that solution, and them giving their feedback and what we want to see and what we would want to see. And again, the restorative justice measures that certain districts are taking. And I was like, again, these are just a couple of things that some people said that really stood out to me, that as a governing board, as an educational board, we fix system, not people. And we create equitable solution that benefit us all for the past generations, for the present students, and for the future generations to come. We ensure that we have restorative justice solutions. We ensure that we are involving our youth and students with their input and serving their needs. Just want to briefly summarize. This is my first semester as a student board member. And I will say that this is a learning experience. Every time that I sit on here, every day that I am in school, I am a part of something. And it's such a privilege to have be in this position and advocate for the students. It's an honor to be here. And again, to serve all the students in our district. But something that I will definitely reflect upon is priorities and how we are meeting these priorities and who are we striving to serve? What students are we representing and what students are underrepresented? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's been a long time since we had our last meeting. So in Bay Point in November, we had our Operation Turkey, which is what we call it. And it's a between the Bay Point Municipal Advisory Council, Golden State Water, and Supervisor Glover's office. And we generally give away 75 turkeys to the schools out in the community, but it was chickens this year because turkeys, I can't figure out the link between pandemic and turkeys, but they were very hard to get. We couldn't even find hams this year. So that was a big success. And we thank the schools for all participating and having their folks right there to pick them up on Friday before Thanksgiving. I attended the PAC meeting in November and the DLAC meeting as well. In December, I was at the ABAR meeting. I had coffee with the principal at Rio Vista. Yesterday, I was on the IB meeting that we had with the district, checking in on our program over at Ignacia Valley High School. Over the weekend, I went to the Urban Nutcracker, which was an amazing production that was in City of Pittsburgh, but there were some Delta View students that were in that production as well. So that was really fun. And I came last month to the boutique here from our bridge program and got this lovely scarf and visited with the kids. That was a lot of fun. And then I went to the conference. And so I always like to come back. And when deciding what sessions I'm going to go to, I think about what I've heard under public comment all year and what people are questioning. How do we make our decisions? Where do you get your information? And that's kind of what I base what I go to on. So I will give you a brief 1 or 2 points from each session that I went to. First one I went to was equitable literacy for English learners, a multidimensional approach. It's something that Azusa Unified School District is doing, and they're using a 4-pillar approach, which collaborative practices, academic rigor, chance for reading and writing, and curriculum and staff training. And they're using some of their one-time funds to get the staff trained and materials they need to continue to support that program when those funds are gone. The next one was governing effectively in difficult and challenging times. It says it's important to follow the Brown Act and district policies when you're conducting your meetings. And though the meetings are open to the public and we want public comment, it's important to remember these are our meetings to do our business, and that is the main focus. One-time funding with long-term vision, implementing, monitoring, and communicating about COVID relief aid. The message here was that boards are being questioned and pressured to spend the COVID dollars because it appears that districts have large reserves, but we were cautioned to focus should be on the programs that support students, like summer learning or SEL programs or tutoring, and to leverage those funds to support existing plans and not to add a lot of new programs that you won't be able to sustain. The next one, current legal issues facing governing boards, guidance for board members. Religion in schools is coming up because there's been a case where there's a coach that went and took a knee on the middle of a football field and said prayers, and students joined him. So that's being litigated, whether that is appropriate or not. There an issue of flags. Different schools have started in Southern California where they'll have different community agencies raise a flag, and a Christian flag was raised. So now that's being looked at as something that we have to think about in the future. There's a new part of the Brown Act that's being enacted in January, which school board members have to be careful that they cannot share an emoji or a comment on other members' social media if it's anything to do with the schools, or it'll be a violation. And then it was interesting, they talked about negotiating and how there's nothing that precludes boards or districts from sharing whatever's going on in the negotiating meetings all the time. So you don't get to a place where you're only sharing when things are going bad, but you have a constant place where you list, this is what happened in each negotiating session, be very factual about it. I thought that was a good idea. The fiscal landscape of K-12 funding. The legislative office is already predicting a huge deficit based on loss of taxes from the top 1% of our population, which pay 50% of our taxes in California. They're predicting there won't be many cuts this year in education, but they will be coming. So it's important to align your programs and continue to right-size your staff and maintain bargaining class size, because if you don't, you're going to have make large cuts down the road. It's better to make smaller cuts and keep that staff right-sized as you go, and then you don't have to lay off as many people. One of the things that were suggested to deal with the declining enrollment was to offer after-school programs and before-school care. And please don't start the petitions. I kept the petitions that they sent me last time, but it was shared not only as full-day kindergarten classes good for students, it attracts parents to your district because it's helpful to them. Another one is politics, money, and policy, political landscape impacting schools. $42 billion shortfall in the next 2 years is what is predicted, $5 billion this year. There will be no one-time money this year, no new money, only a COLA. Because of Prop 98, the existing funds that for this year are probably not going to be cut. And they really said, if you've started ELOP or pre-K programs, you should go full steam ahead because that money looks like it's going to be okay. And they talked about the increasing needs of students, which our Dr. Clark has talked about, because kids are so stressed and think they're dealing with, that this is something that we need to look at putting money into as well. And what cases did the Education Legal Alliance support in 2022? One was the one about the religion and the coach. All school clubs, regardless what they are, should go by the same rules and regulations. There's a lawsuit currently, CSBA versus Betty E, on charter schools getting ERAF money that perhaps they shouldn't have gotten, which would mean more money for us. And the thing that several of the sessions stressed, know your policies, keep them current, and follow them. Also, the Golden Bell was one of our highlights, and my observation of the Golden Bell is that a lot of the other programs that we're receiving recognition are things we are doing here as well. And I think we're doing a good job, and we need to just stay the course. And with that, I'll turn it over to our superintendent, Dr. Clark.
Thank you. So I have a brief presentation. I'll be brief. First of all, I just as always, I am committed to implementing and upholding these LCAP goals. And, I share them before every meeting. And I think if we really break them apart and really look at as a district what we stand for, many of the actions that are taking place within our classrooms, within our schools, within our support services and other programs are really aligned within these goals. They are goals, so we have not reached them yet, but I believe that we are on a good path in reaching those goals. And ultimately, what it's all about is providing high quality instruction to each and every student, regardless of what group they're from or who they represent or what their zip code is. All students should receive high quality education. However, in order to do that, there's certain things that we have to make sure that we have in place. So this is our triangle that we worked with CCEE. It's our equity, unity, and opportunity triangle, where we believe in educational equity, making sure that all students have what they need to be successful so that they'll properly be prepared for any college or career that they would like to pursue. And then, of course, learning acceleration. It was unfortunate that our students are suffering from the pandemic, and it's unfortunate that we closed our schools to students and for well over a year. That, of course, is going to have a lasting effect on our students, and it has proven across the country that young people are suffering at all levels from all different communities. And so I think that learning acceleration is something that we have to continue to embrace. That is the work that we're doing with TNTP. We had professional development today, and it's all centered around learning acceleration. And then also equally as important is the social emotional learning. And really what that comes down to is that parent and family and community relationships with each and every one on our campuses, not just the teachers, not just the campus supervisors or the principals or lunch people. It needs to be everyone. Really needs to create those bonds with our communities and with our families so that we can all come together and support our students. So again, these are the goals that this board has put me, directed me to implement in the district. And it is tough. It is tough work, and it can be very challenging at times. I want to really acknowledge the tentative agreement that we reached with CSEA, who many of our instructional assistants are part of this unit. And I just want to really give special thanks to the CSEA president, Andy Nolan, and to our human resources director, Ryan Sheehy. They really, the two of them have a history together, and they were able to both work in the best interests of their groups who they were representing in coming together in a respectful, civilized way, which so often we don't see in our society these days. So I was really pleased with that, and hopefully we'll be bringing an agreement to this board in January with the recommendation of approval. And so just really want to acknowledge all of the hard work that went in on both sides. And I think if you look at this picture closely, there's not a sad face in the room. Everyone's very happy, and it's really a testament to what can happen when you work together as a team, and we are a team. Disproportionality in California public schools. So this is not something that I just wake up in the morning and I decide to do. This is actually state and federal law. And so just so that we're clear what disproportionality is the overrepresentation of a specific race or ethnicity identified in one or more 4 areas. And it has to do, again, with identification of a disability. So certain students are identified with a particular disability more than others, or more than their numbers represent, or identification of a specific race or ethnicity into a disability category. Discipline is part of this, and placement in programs is part of this. And significant disproportionality, which we qualify for here in Mount Diablo, is the identification of disproportionality for 3 consecutive years in the same indicator category. So we are significantly disproportionate. It happened before I got here. I take 100% full responsibility for it, and I've accepted this and embraced this, and will work tirelessly to deal with this. Unfortunately, Mount Diablo has been disproportionate going back decades. And so this work, we've done lots of work to address this, and sometimes we've seen some great gains, but then we dip, and then we see great gains, and then we dip. What I would like to do is make sure that systemically we have things in place that will avoid those dips, or it's people dependent. Yeah, we have some really good, staffing in this particular area, and so therefore our students are getting the resources they need. So our disproportionality is not what it is. But then if those folks shift to other positions or leave or move on, then it comes back. So really, we want to, this is something that not only are we mandated to do it, it's our moral imperative to do it. And here it says the last bullet is the Disabilities Act, right? This is federal, it's IDEA. So so this is what we're working on. This is one of the many things that we're working on. And what has come from that is our comprehensive coordinated early intervening services plan. And part of that plan is that we've identified dozens and dozens of focal scholars who we've been unable to positively impact their data over years. So now We are putting resources to it. We have a team working on this. We have teachers who are engaging not only with the students, but with their families, doing extra parent meetings, doing individualized learning plans for students. We're compensating them for this work because it is heavy work, but we're thankful for this entire team and for the effort that they're doing in this one particular area to serve these students. And so when you hear the SACE plan, that's what we're talking about. And really everyone involved in this plan, you know, from our site personnel, from teachers, administrators, counselors, you know, social workers, all the way through the organization to our, you know, African American Achievement Team and the SACE team, special education team. Really hats off to the work that's happening. We still have a long ways to go, but we're doing the work. This week, we had an opportunity to attend the CASBO awards ceremony. And so this was our regional awards. So there were districts there from all over, and we were overrepresented. This is a good time to be overrepresented in a particular thing. And I just want to, I want to identify Laura Warner. She's a lead buyer in the purchasing and warehouse department. Julie Carpenter, who is a secretary within the transportation department, and Andrea Ramirez, who is a student data systems in our informational technology department. They were, again, well represented. You know, as many of you, when we go out to places where there's other districts and there's other places, and you see who's being acknowledged, you see what programs are being highlighted, you think back and go, oh, we're doing that, and you know, we're doing those same things. And so with these folks being recognized in this body, it was very reassuring of the work that's taking place here within all of our departments and all of our schools and classrooms. You know, our goal is preparing students for college and career, and this is not just one person's responsibility. You know, we have teachers who are working extremely hard in this area, you know, that are working with their students all the way from TK up through 12th grade. Right now, it's a very stressful time for our seniors as they are getting ready to exit our system. And they have been working very closely with their teachers. They've been working with counselors. They've been filling out college applications. Some of them are receiving admission notices. Some of them are eagerly waiting. This is going to be an ongoing process. These students, you know, the deadline for the UCs has already passed, so those applications are in. The deadlines for the California state colleges are in. However, some of the private schools have different timelines, but a lot of those are in. And soon our community colleges will be accepting students. You know, our community colleges are a great option for, you know, for families to pursue, especially with colleges costing what they cost now. Students can go and get their entire general education units taken care of at a community college and then transfer into a four-year college. We also, you know, within our district, just have a very strong career and technical education program. You know, I shared a couple of weeks ago about the career fair that took place over at Concord High, and we had representatives pretty much from throughout our district attend. Those recruiters who come love coming to our district because of the programs that we have and for the support that our students are receiving. Also, our College Now program. You know, I received some data on our College Now program. Out of 26 of those students have applied to multiple colleges. 20 of them have already received acceptance letters to schools, and the data for our College Now programs is just through the roof. Earlier, actually it was last week, we went to a breakfast over at DVC, and we again shared our program amongst districts throughout Contra Costa County. They were very impressed with what Mount Diablo is doing. DVC spoke extremely highly of Mount Diablo and the partnerships that we have. We have multiple partnerships, and they want more. We're working on dual enrollment opportunities for our students, where we're simplifying the process and really opening up that option to our students to go and take their courses over at the community college while they're still taking courses at our schools. Also, Trustee Nava Flores brought it up earlier about different apprentice programs and things that are available. Those are all available to our students. And lastly, none of those things up there are free for our students. Well, I guess seeing your teachers and seeing your counselors are free, but everything else costs money. And so therefore there will be, more of a statewide effort in really supporting kids and young people and families and filling out the FAFSA. We do, again, bragging about Mount Diablo, we do a good job at supporting our students with filling out the FAFSA. I know I've seen several announcements and reviews of evenings that that our counselors are coming out and working with families and getting those free applications for federal student aid in, and encouraging our students to apply once they get their FAFSA in. It's good for all those things that are listed: UCs, state colleges, community colleges, and apprentice programs they can use. They can get funds from the federal government to attend those programs. So just lots of things happening. We have lots of things to be proud of here in the district. Of course, we are perfectionists in education, so we always have work to do, and we're going to continue to work and continue to strive. I'm going to continue to support students, and I'm going to continue to take this direction from this board. I am thrilled at how the election turned out. I'm glad that we were able to swear in 3 incumbents. I think as Supervisor Glover said earlier, I think it says a lot for the stability and for the mission of this board and what you all are working towards in difficult situations. No one said that leading a school district is going to be easy. No one said that the problems that our students face each and every day were going to erase when they walked onto our campuses, right? No one said that money was going to open freely for us to be able to buy all the things we need to properly educate our kids. But this board has really stuck together and has really shown the leadership through some of the toughest times in education and some of the toughest times for school boards. So for that, I really want to acknowledge the work of this board in implementing the goals that you all have set forth. So just very, very pleased and honored to serve this district and serve these students. Tomorrow, the dashboard information is going to be released. And again, we get ranked on all these things, right? So we get ranked on chronic absences. We get ranked on suspensions, right? There's other ways to work with kids rather than suspending them. We get ranked on our graduation rate. And again, we've had a peek at our numbers. I will be sending this information out as soon as it's released, just being fully transparent of where we are, and our public can judge on how we are doing on these particular areas. We get ranked on our college and career readiness that we're providing for our students, A to G completion rates, right? Not just graduation rates, but A to G completions. We get ranked on our English language arts. So there's a reason why we have to make sure that we have coherence and consistency through our education programs. There's 53 schools, right? And 1,500 teachers, 1,500 support staff and administrators. We have to make sure that there are some things that are going to be consistent regardless of what school a student attends. And we get ranked on mathematics. And not only do we get ranked on mathematics, mathematics is that gateway into all those universities and colleges and apprentice programs that I listed earlier. Mathematics is that gateway. So I would imagine if we are a school district and mathematics is that key indicator that's going to get kids in, that we want to be extra intentional with that mathematics work that we're ensuring is happening within our district. So I'm excited to see what the dashboard tells. Whatever it is, we're going to share it out. We're going to share it with our families, share it with our staff, and we're going to use that to kind of see where we need to fill in some blanks. It is the holiday season, and there is no better place to be during the holiday season than in school districts, right? So when you go around and you see the plays, the classroom activities, the excitement of many of our kids. I do want to acknowledge that some of our kids and families are stressed during the holidays because of uncertainty and some of the challenges they face. So I do want to acknowledge that, but at least at school, we can create an environment where they can just be kids for a little while and then deal with that. So whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate, my wish out there to everyone within the Mount Diablo School District is that they are happy and healthy and safe during the holiday break. And I just want to remind everyone, I know the date is odd, but we go back to school on January 9th. That is when school resumes. So that is my conclusion of my report. And just again, I want to thank this board and just thank all of the 3,000 employees that we have out there who are working tirelessly to serve our very diverse 29,000 student population. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Now 14.1, it's our organizational meeting items. So annual board education organizational meeting. So first we will do the election of the board president. And then I'm going to ask that we do the vice president and then we play musical chairs. So we don't have to play musical chairs twice. Okay, so I will open the floor to nominations for board president.
I nominate Keisha Nzewi as president for the 2022 to 23 school year. And no, right now.
You can
Second,
do that, right? And we don't need a second. We just need a nomination. So she's nominated, okay? Are there any other nominations?
Can I say something?
Well, since we don't have any other nominations, do we have to take a vote or we can just? Okay, all right. So all those in favor, okay. Trustee Navaflores.
Aye, but I did want to say that I believe that you'll make the such a powerful role as being president. And I know that with you, we will see the change and the progressiveness that we so much need in our district. And you're such a powerful person with so much strength in every single aspect. So I'm really excited to work with you. And I'm excited for all the things that are coming up.
Trustee, oh, I guess we'll do a vote, we're vocal on this, right? Okay, trustee Count,
Yes, with enthusiasm.
trustee Mayo,
Yes.
trustee McFerrin,
yes, of course.
trustee Mason says yes. How do you vote, trustee Nzewi?
What? Yes, thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Now traditionally, you do the next one. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, we want to officially do it that way too, okay. There we go. Okay. So you just ask for nomination.
I will entertain nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Erin McFerrin for vice president.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. So we will then take.
Wait, oh yeah, it's supposed to be me.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Turn my mic.
We will take a vote. Laura, are we putting it on the screen? Okay, so we'll hold on, but first trustee Navaflores.
Yes.
And that passes 5-0.
And now we have to do the chair.
Do we really
Or
though?
do you want to just stay here?
Can we just?
Turn off my mic so I won't make any. noise.
Okay.
As long as whoever can reach the timer in case we need that.
Well,
You want to handle that?
Oh,
And just a point of privilege, I know you have a proud relative in the room.
oh,
You could come up and get a good picture so you didn't have to squat behind the podium. You can come on up and take a
Oh my
picture.
gosh.
Come on up.
this is my mother.
I hope I'm not embarrassed.
Go, there you go.
And I do embarrass her.
Been embarrassing me for 48 years.
That's the most
But I
fun
love
part of
it.
being a parent.
So the next thing we have to do is item 14.4, appointment of board secretary, which is our superintendent, that's just what we do, right? Did we vote on that?
Madam President, I move to approve the appointment of Superintendent Dr. Adam Clark to the position of Secretary to the Board beginning December 14th, 2022.
Second,
Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
that passes 5-0.
Yes, thank you.
I know. Next, oh, I'm out of sync somehow. Next item 14.5. Oh, review and potential adoption of certificate of signatures for December 22 to December 2023.
I make a motion that we approve the certificate of signatures for December 2022 to December 2023.
second,
Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
and that passes 5-0. That's just our signatures. Okay, item 14.6, review and potential approval of resolution 2223-33 to establish regular board meeting dates, times, and locations for the 2023 calendar year.
Yes, so I have that resolution and I just want to read just 3 parts of it. So whereas the establishment of meeting dates to maximize public opportunity for participation should properly consider potential calendar conflicts of recognized religious observances within the community, with particular attention to those observances which include work restrictions. And whereas herein those proper considerations have been given in consultation with the National Anti-Defamation League and local Jewish Community Relations Council. And whereas virtual meetings well, we don't do virtual meetings, so I will skip that. But I do just want to read the dates real quickly. These are posted in the agenda, but just so that we're on the record. January 18th, February 1st, February 22nd, March 8th, March 22nd, April 12th, April 26th, May 10th, June 14th, June 28th, August 16th, August 23rd, September 13th, September 27th, October 11th, October 25th, November 8th, and December 13th. So with that, I will leave this. And then lastly, meetings shall include a closed session with no public access beginning at 5 p.m. and an open session with public access beginning at 6. So we've established our dates and times for our board meetings for next year. We'll now put this in the hands of the board.
Madam President, I move to approve Resolution 2223-33 to establish regular meeting dates, times, and locations for the 2023 calendar year as indicated.
Second that.
Trustee Nava Flores,
Yes.
that passes 5-0. We move on to 15.1, the consent agenda. Items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved or adopted by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, any item may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any member of the board and acted upon separately. Is there anything anyone wants to remove?
I would like to remove 1510.
So 15.10.
I would like to remove 15.5 just as a recognition.
So 15.5 and 15.10. Can I get a motion for the remaining items?
I move that the board approve the consent agenda with the exception of 15.5 and 15.10, which will be pulled for separate consideration.
I'll second that.
Trustee Nava Flores,